All right, welcome everybody to the comic panel. I'm Cody.
I'm Tailon.
And I'm Chawienta.
And today we are covering The Man-Thing, written by Steve Gerber and with various artists who I will mention later.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the start to a new theme. Is it comics about plants? Plant people?
Yeah, so it's like plant related. I was vaguely interested in like how people have ecology, kind of natural stuff in their comics, and I'm curious about their representation of it. Like, we all know about Swamp Thing.
Mm-hmm.
We all know like Poison Ivy and like her views on like humans versus nature.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wanted to see some stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah, Swamp Thing's too easy of a pick, so I chose Man-Thing.
Yeah, we have picked probably the most popular run of Swamp Thing already. Years ago now. It is I think one of the first episodes on our podcast feed. Not the very first, but one of the first.
Oh, right. Yeah. It was years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't...
It was like it was yesterday.
Yeah. It does in a lot of ways. I'm like, what? No. Last year? No, it wasn't last year. 2 years? No. I think it was like 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah. We've been doing this a long time.
Yeah. We certainly have. It's, on that note, wild to think that it is 4 years since 2020 only.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much around the time-ish when we started like podcasting rather than just radio showing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is Man-Thing, and like we said, very similar to the name Swamp Thing, but this is Marvel's version.
I was gonna say, it's like, this isn't a coincidence. They use the word swamp way too much.
Yeah.
They want to say Swamp Thing.
Yeah. Also, isn't Swamp Thing... Swamp Thing is Louisiana, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
This is Florida Everglades.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
they're swamps. They're in America. That's what's important.
Right. Yeah. So this character was created by Stan Lee, Roy Thomas, Gary Conway, and artist Gray Morrow, and first appeared in Strange Tales #1 in 1971.
Really?
Yeah. And Steve Gerber, whose issues we are reading, he did a 39-issue run on the series and is considered to be a cult classic.
Sorry. He first appeared in Savage Tales #1.
Oh, what did I say? Did I say Strange Tales?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. There's a lot of tales.
Yeah, that's
There's a
right.
lot of synonyms around here.
Yeah, and then I'm curious too, just to look up, since we were talking about Swamp Thing, when the television...
The time frame?
Yeah, the time frame, exactly.
I wonder how long it took them to come up with Man-Thing.
Right. July 19... Oh, so, wow, Man-Thing was actually technically first.
Wow.
I think I knew that.
Yeah. But so close. Man-Thing was May 1971. Swamp Thing was July 1971.
Wow.
Yeah. And Swamp Thing created by Len Wein and artist Bernie Wrightson. Yeah, you can really feel like maybe people were friends. In fact, I'm pretty sure Len Wein writes the Man-Thing section of the Khazar issues that are at the beginning of this volume. Yeah, I was like, oh, who did this? And I was like, Roy Thomas, boring. And then it was like, oh, no, Len Wein is doing just the section that is Man-Thing with art by it's gonna come back to me. Neil Adams, not Paul. Neil Adams.
Oh, gotcha.
Paul is a character in that story, actually.
Oh, yeah,
that's a character name.
Paul Allen.
Paul Allen, yeah. Oh, and Neil Adams. Hey, I'm gonna take that connection, actually.
I see what they did there.
Yeah.
Paul Allen.
Yeah.
And Neil Adam?
Yeah. It's close enough.
Okay. Fair enough.
But yeah, so very, very close together kind of creatures, and with similar origins. Man-Thing is, he was...
Super soldier serum, right?
Yeah. They're not... It's funny because, like, yeah, now they would definitely... If they were making this character now, they'd definitely be like, yes, this is, like, the program trying to create Captain America. Captain America does not get mentioned in this at all. It is just, like, generally trying to make a super soldier serum, but not related to that Captain America guy. Like,
Gotcha.
just in general, you know.
So
we're always trying to do it.
Yeah.
The program that made Captain America is the same program that he was hired.
Well, I
was
mean,
hired on.
I'm sure that it's been retconned that way, but it doesn't feel that way when you just read the origin.
No.
I
gotta say,
just love making serums.
Yeah. I first read the wrong collection of Man-Thing. Mm-hmm. I read the 1979 version. And so they did a recap of his origin. Mm-hmm. I definitely did not like that as much as actually reading his origin.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. It's interesting how much, because, like, the beginning of this volume has, like, I don't know. It's like the Savage Tales magazine, which I think that has to be his first appearance.
Yeah. This is Savage Tales #1, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Yeah. And then it's really beautiful, black and white. That's story by Gary Conway and Roy Thomas. Also, I might say, do you guys think his name is Jerry or Gary?
Oh, that's a good point.
I mean, he's not the main guy that we're talking about today. Jerry? Yeah, I think you're right. I just flip-flop sometimes.
That's fair.
I am unsure.
But yeah, Gray Morrow, great artist. Really pretty black and white. But yeah, then, we go to the Khazar from Astonishing Tales.
Actually, before we do that, one quick summary of this first Savage Tales.
Oh yeah.
So Ted Sallis is a scientist, as we said, working to create a super soldier serum. Against the instructions of the government, he brings on his girlfriend,
significant other
to
Ellen.
Yes, Ellen. Ellen Brandt was her name. Brings her to their secret research facility, and turns out she's a spy working for the other side, whatever that is.
Isn't it AIM?
Actually, it's AIM, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
But then he gets away, and he's like, well, the only copy of the super soldier serum is in my head, so we got to fix that somehow. And there's only one version of the serum, so I gotta dispose of it somehow. Oh, I'll inject myself. And then drives.
I totally missed the first time that he had injected himself until they did the recap in like the immediate after issue, and I was like, that man's being silly.
Yeah.
I thought he like crashed his car and the vial like broke and like got in the water and turned him into a super soldier. But he made the conscious effort to go, I'll take it. Yeah. I'll take the bully, you guys.
Yeah.
A later issue describes it as in an attempt to save himself, which I was like, oh, I did not get that from reading the
Yeah,
first
that's
issue.
an interesting other kind of way of framing it.
Yeah.
It's a little less selfless.
But yeah, so he falls into the waters in the swamp, interacts and turns him into the man thing. A muck monster, has no thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, he does have thoughts, but it's very like
instincts.
Yeah.
It's like he doesn't. He thinks in emotions. Is kind of how they describe it, I guess.
Right. Yeah. He's somewhat aware that he used to be Ted Sallis, but at the same time he isn't, and he can like dig up old memories from seeing things that he remembers. But very instinctual, very emotion based. He can also sense other people's emotions.
Yeah.
And
I think that's the aspect of him that they emphasize, I think.
Right, yeah. Because one of the things, other than just being a big, very strong muck monster, is that whatever knows fear burns at the touch of Man-Thing.
He said it. He said the thing.
Yes.
Honestly, though, I love that.
Yeah. It is like, it's kind of fun, you know, like, and that is very like clear differentiation from Swamp Thing, where it's like, it's just so weird to be all like, especially like, you know, he can never be a hero, you know, because it's like, yeah, it doesn't matter what the intentions of the person that's feeling fear are. If you feel fear, then you are going to burn. And burn like quite quickly. Like people die fast. From the touch of Man-Thing.
I appreciate the lore part of it, or you know, the universe reason, and I appreciate later on when the scientists try to be like, maybe they're perspiring or something, it's reacting, and then later on it just becomes like, nah, magic.
Yeah. Honestly though, like they transitioned into that, I didn't even notice. But yeah, so he gets out of the swamp as the Man-Thing runs into those people who were trying to rough him up, and then beats them and walks off.
Yeah. To live into the swamp.
He leaves. He kills the guys, right?
Right. And then he hurts Ellen. Burning her, but he just kind of leaves her alone. At the last moment, he feels bad, sort of. Despite being wronged.
Yeah. Yeah, and then so he comes back in Khazar, which is Marvel's Tarzan ripoff.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But you know, of course, in the Marvel way, they bring him, you know, into their universe, and he lives in the Savage Land, which is the jungle that exists in the center of the South Pole.
Okay.
See, I kept getting confused by that. I was like, why did we go to Antarctica to get him? Like, what do you mean jungle in Antarctica?
Yeah. I didn't even think about it.
It's just there. It's hidden. And
he thought back fondly to the icy peaks, as he said.
Yeah. There's also dinosaurs in Savage Land. It's not just a jungle only. It is
and apes, right?
Yeah. Yes.
The man ape or whatever.
Oh yeah. Right. Which I thought was a Black Panther character, or am I thinking of the white gorilla?
I think you're thinking of the white gorilla.
Okay.
Yeah. There's also like some I don't know, I'd say like questionably represented like kind of like subhumans in the Savage Land too.
Wait, did we read an issue where J. Jonah Jameson went to the Savage Land?
I've definitely read that issue, so at some point we probably did. I was like, I don't remember the context, but
yeah, me neither. I've read that just came to mind.
Yeah, that was like a Amazing Spider-Man annual or something.
Okay.
We gotta get the scoop.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, I don't know. Anyway, it's not important. Yeah, I almost tried to bring up the context to my mind, but
this is about Man-Thing.
Yeah, this is about Man-Thing, not Spider-Man.
And Khazar.
And Khazar. Yeah, I will be honest. I started reading the Khazar issue, and then I realized, like I was saying earlier, that the Man-Thing section is written and drawn by other people, and I was like, maybe I'll just like skip forward a little bit.
Oh, gotcha.
And then I read the end after the main like origin recap kind of portion,
Gotcha.
plus the extra, context for the story with the Dr. Calvin.
Okay,
I kept reading. I was like, all right.
Yeah, that's the main important part, right?
Mhm.
AIM is trying to find Ted, and then, his group that worked with him is trying to find him again. And Dr. Calvin, this older lady scientist, may be the key to fixing Man-Thing, and he kind of knows it.
Yeah.
But she was shot. Is in a coma.
But alive.
Shot into a coma.
Yes.
Everybody goes into a coma.
Yeah.
Either die or you go into a coma.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, so the Khazar issue, like the reason Khazar is in America is because the group that is looking for Ted that he worked with is like somehow, I guess he's a hunter. I don't actually know now.
This is a swamp. It's scary. We need
Right.
someone to be able to brave this wilderness.
Yeah.
I guess.
And newspaper articles have been written about Khazar. People know about him.
Yeah.
So they were like, this is the guy we need. Craven the Hunter, he's a loose cannon. We can't trust him.
Khazar and his saber-toothed tiger, on the other hand.
Yep.
They're heroes.
Chivalrous.
Yeah.
The two people who come to collect Khazar are named Dr. Barbara Morse and her fiance, Dr. Paul Allen.
Yeah. And eventually, though, Dr. Calvin and Paul Allen get kidnapped by AIM.
No. Well, yes.
Yes. I know.
That was you mimicking Man-Thing. No.
And basically, so they incapacitate Man-Thing basically, and are put him in a cage. But they make a Khazar and the other researcher basically make plans to go and save Dr. Calvin and Paul Allen. And so they get into the AIM facility, and it turns out, not to the surprise of the other scientist lady who Paul Allen was her fiance, Paul Allen is actually a leader within AIM.
Dun, dun,
he was
dun.
not kidnapped. He has been trying to find Ted Sallis for AIM this whole time. But also, like I said, I don't remember the woman's name anymore.
Barbara Morse.
Barbara Morse. She's not surprised, and actually the whole accepting his proposal was all just a part of her secret agent status, basically deep cover, to find out more about Paul Allen and infiltrate him.
Yep. And he wasn't fazed by that at all.
Yeah.
I'm not stuck in this marriage with you. You're stuck in this marriage with me.
But also Man-Thing escapes his imprisonment, which
he just like oozes through the bars.
Yeah. It's interesting that they say that all he has like human wise is like a heart, which I think is they're just meaning metaphorically. I don't think he has like a real like pumping heart.
Or else they could shoot it.
Yeah. Good point.
That's fair. I was thinking literally, but
yeah, because I mean later on they also say that he has a brain, which technically true. He does have thoughts and feelings,
right?
But also I think that it's more. I mean, this goes back. Recommended. Go listen back and read Saga of the Swamp Thing in our episode covering it. But the autopsy of Swamp Thing, that first issue, he probably has like, ideas of organs.
Oh yeah.
But
oh wow, that's coming back to me.
Yeah. But he probably just is this mass, and it just does everything, his thoughts and feelings, and it's just all of him. Probably cut him in half, and so yeah, he oozes through the bars and comes crashing through the AIM facility. And then basically
he just wants to protect Dr. Calvin, mostly.
Yeah.
That's his main aim, right?
AIM.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. So yeah, he beats up Paul Allen, and then they're out of danger, and so he motions to Kazar to basically get everybody out of danger, and then he blows up the AIM facility, seemingly an end to Man-Thing, but it is not actually. He survives. I don't know. It doesn't even really get brought back up again. No. He just appears later. So
yeah, sometimes these issues feel like there is other appearances of Man-Thing in between in different series.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. It's certainly possible. It's also certainly possible that they said, well, I don't know. I just don't want to explain it. I don't care. Man-Thing was cool.
He's fine.
Yeah, he's fine. He oozed through the bars. He oozed through the rubble. It's
yeah.
Like, we're just gonna skip ahead. So yeah, then we get Adventures into Fear, issue 10, and that is starring Man-Thing. So far we've had a short story with his origin, and then we've had him guest starring in Kazar, and now this is his first full, he's featured as the main character in a full story. We do get his origin again, but in present day, before we flash back, somebody drives up on a bridge and then drops a baby off that bridge and right into Man-Thing's arms, though. He was right there.
Yep.
Coincidentally. The baby is okay.
Amen.
Yeah. And then so Man-Thing is has this baby, and he decides to drop it off at Dr. Warren B. Thompson's house, who's a doctor.
Which really, he should have been more in this. Just giving him a name just makes him feel more important.
Right. Yeah. I get that. Yeah. And so, yeah, he's like, oh, this must be, what's her name?
They instantly know whose baby it is.
Yeah.
And instantly know the story. They're like, that lady who has the baby and her husband or new husband, I don't know.
Yeah.
Something along those lines has been nagging at her to get rid of the baby. Because you don't spend enough time with me because of the baby.
Weird how that happens.
Yeah. Especially when you're not acting like a father.
Yeah.
This baby wants so much attention. It's a attention hog.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically, Man-Thing goes on a mission of vengeance because, obviously this guy tried to, kill his son, his baby, his infant son. And so he finds their house and crashes in on them and just starts attacking and burns the man's face. But that actually results in the woman, caring for him more, he needs her help, so it's kind of a weird, win-lose situation for Man-Thing where,
the more he hurts the guy, the more it drives them back together. And although the issue tries to end it off with, the guy, because he's been hurt, has the last vestiges of his humanity kind of coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he won't possibly kill babies this time.
Yeah, it really is like it feels like a last
You just
page.
gotta hurt them and they'll become good.
Yeah, real corporal punishment. Believing in corporal punishment ending there. Because I was kind of like, all right, I guess the message here is that punishment works, and that really does restore people's their empathy.
Near-death experience. You're like, I'm turning over a new leaf.
I guess.
I think you would live the rest of your life in paranoia.
Yeah.
In a swamp. But I guess the character would link it to the fact that they threw a baby off a bridge.
Yeah. Really, you can be hopeful that what happens is what the narrator says is going to happen, but it does seem a little dubious just in terms of what seems likely. It's like, all right, I guess.
Now you learned your lesson, all right?
Yep.
But yeah, then going into Adventure into Fear with the Man-Thing, issue 11, the first issue with Steve Gerber on script, and we have Rich Buckler on pencils, Jim Mooney on inks, Gene Izzo on letters. Also, I realized while reading today, they don't credit colorist here, and I'm pretty sure these are actually like, if not fully recolored, they're probably touched up at least for digital. But I am curious. I'm like, I think they like Marvel since the 60s has been crediting the colorist. So I'm like,
okay.
These issues don't credit them though. So I'm like, who colored these? Kind of a mystery, maybe on the internet, but mystery in terms of the credits in the book. I guess maybe I could also look to see if the credits in the very front. Okay, yeah. It does say, it doesn't say which issues they worked on, but in the very front of the volume, it does say Stan Goldberg, Petra Goldberg, George Rosos, Linda Lessman, Dave Hunt, and Glynis Ween, and with Ben Hunt. So at some point, those people worked on the coloring.
Well, yes.
But
people were trusted with the coloring.
Yeah. But yeah, so this is issue 11, and it basically is about, I don't know, how old do you think this girl is supposed to be? Is she a teenager? Is she like a young adult?
They often call her a child.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I think she's a teen.
Okay.
Yeah, which makes
she's
some
going
things...
to the movies with her brother.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
She's just drawn like somewhat more adult-like, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah,
they really flip-flop on how they feel about this teen girl. They're like, this is a child.
Yeah.
Also, wear this outfit, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did not like that.
We can also discuss how much it's weird how it talks about their relationship.
Yeah. But basically, her grandpa has this book on witchcraft that he's kept hidden and doesn't want to talk about. And so she has stolen it and read through it, and she wants to summon a demon that she can control. And her brother is like, I'm not so sure about this.
But I guess.
Jennifer's like, it's part of our family.
Yeah. We're a family of witches, and yeah. I mean, it's always funny to me seeing, like, you know, now, like, I think especially because of like Harry Potter and stuff, it's like witches and wizards, like that is the official male name for a magic user. But before that, it was like lots of different things. So they say like witches and goblins. It's like,
oh, okay.
It's just, I don't know, you could be a warlock, you could be anything. The fantasy terms were not standardized at all.
Even like with D&D, where they're like, you're a wizard, you're a warlock, you're a sorcerer, you're this, you're that. There's like specific reasons, but they're still vague.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jennifer manages to summon a demon, not that she realizes it. Her and her brother are like, weird book. Guess it didn't work. Jennifer's kind of disappointed. They go to the movies and leave the book there.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, they do.
They just go to the movies. They go watch a horror movie. The demon follows them there. Man-Thing also follows the demon. And battle ensues in the movie theater.
Yeah.
But Man-Thing realizes he can't defeat it, right? Once it becomes like that more humanoid form.
Right, yeah, because he
like,
does...
I gotta go back to the swamp.
Yeah, because the demon, like, is basically like a formless spirit when it comes out of the portal that the children opened up, but it takes the form of a dragonfly. The dragonfly is, like, flying through, and it basically, like, possesses it. And then when Man thinks, he starts beating it up, and that causes the demon to feel fear, and so the demon starts to burn until it's just ash, and then Man-Thing's like, all right, problem solved, but then it comes back up in a more humanoid form. And yeah, then it's like, is very much resembling like a very traditional representation of a devil, you know, the long hooked tail. Yeah. And
but these horns are his ears.
Oh,
that too.
Yeah, pointy ears, not horns.
Little pointy ears.
Yeah,
and claws on the fingers. Yeah, and then so he's at that point the demon is more powered up somehow, and so
you haven't even seen my full power.
Yeah, my true form. So yeah, the demon is blasting Man-Thing with what does he call it? Eldritch or pure mystic force. That's what he says.
The arcane.
Yeah. And Man-Thing's like, he's definitely getting weakened. Yeah, that's right. He was also weakened because he was further away from the swamp.
Yeah.
He can't get too far away. He was in the city center. And that was
That's a big weakness that not a lot of characters are taking advantage of.
It's true. It is true. Yeah. It is also a question of, like, if they destroyed the swamp and built a city on top of it.
Is that his real heart?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh, there's that later issue.
Yeah, you're going to enjoy the end.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. But yeah, basically what ends up defeating the demon, because their Man-Thing starts lumbering back towards the swamp, you know, so that he can fight better. And the children also follow him. They're inspired basically by Man-Thing being like, well, he's trying to save us, so we better help and save him. And so the brother lights the book on fire, and that opens back up the portal, and Man-Thing is able to send the demon back through. And the children learn a valuable lesson.
Don't play with magic.
Don't play with magic, yeah.
Unless you're from a magical family.
Yeah, it does bring the question. It's like, do these characters appear again?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Many times.
Tons.
Okay.
They continue to have trouble with magic.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I'm like, did they learn anything? I guess they kind of didn't bring this on themselves, except they totally did.
Yeah.
Before you started talking about this issue, I was going to say something like, and now we introduce the two characters no one asked for.
Gotcha. Yeah, the next issue does not feature them, and I think that's pretty much where I stopped.
You were lulled into a sense of false security.
Yeah. I was like, well, this is like, you know, the Wikipedia page says it's a cult favorite run. So I'm like, there has to be like some continuing adventures, but so far it's been very episodic of just
wait, this means you don't know how they treat Jennifer later.
No, I don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's been worse, but still not great.
Great, yeah. I mean, honestly, I think I remember, I'm pretty sure Swamp Thing is kind of similar, where, what's her name? Abby. Yeah, I think she's pretty young when she's introduced, and then, like, you know, she grows up into an adult, but it's still like, I don't know. Swamp Thing.
I'm thinking of the one issue where Jennifer's like, oh no, Swamp Thing, he can't get hurt. I love him. And it's like she's never said that before. She's never really showed that strong of an emotion, like, as far as love.
Right.
And I love her grandpa being like, me too, Jennifer. Like, okay, you're just trying to join in.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, Adventures into Fear. This one is, again, written by Steve Gerber, pencils by Jim Starlin, which, you know,
hey.
Yeah, much acclaimed artist.
Yeah. What's that podcast? Off Panel just had it on.
Oh yes, yes. Yeah, and he's most well known for basically writing the Infinity Gauntlet saga, starting in Captain Marvel, but mostly in Adam Warlock, and then into the Infinity Gauntlet, Infinity War event series. But yeah, and creator of Thanos and all of that. And then Rich Buckler on inks, John Costanza on letters. Yeah, and this is honestly kind of a weird story about racism.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
It doesn't do what I think it will.
Same, yeah.
And I'm not sure how to feel about that.
Yeah, definitely has you know, not an unreliable narrator, but just like not all details are what they seem at first.
Yeah.
Man-Thing witnesses a man who is black run from the police, and he gets shot in the shoulder and lands in the swamp and, you know, is able to crawl out. And basically, because Swamp Thing can feel different emotions, he feels that the police officer has hate, specifically racist hate for the person he shot. And also the police officer says, with a bum shoulder, he ain't apt to be swimming far, so I think I'll just have me a look around this here swamp, see if he's dead, 'cause if he ain't, I got me a job to do, yes sir. So yeah, he is intending to kill this man, instead of just bringing him to, you know, quote unquote justice by the law. And then yeah, so Swamp Thing comes upon the man, and he's actually able to partially dress his wound, you know, make
bullet wound. Yeah, like previous knowledge, right?
Yeah. He was a doctor after all, which is like, I think you were like a scientific doctor.
You were a chemist. He literally says he's a chemist in the later issue.
Yeah. But
don't you know back then chemists knew everything?
Yeah.
I'm sure he had to dress plenty of his own wounds.
Right.
Dropping it on himself.
But yeah, basically, you know, the guy is all like, well, you're not hurting me right now, so I guess and it looks like you helped me. I don't know what your deal is, but you're gonna listen to my story. And he tells a story about how he grew up really poor, and the sheriff, who's the guy that's chasing him, has been like keeping him and his family down. He made friends with a woman who is also like, you know, just felt like kind of bored with like the small town life. And she was a white woman, and basically the sheriff had, you know, romantic eyes for her, and basically got jealous, and you know, really started, you know, wanting to attack this guy. So he basically framed him for a robbery, and that's why he had to run. And Swamp Thing strangely thinks about Man-Thing, because somebody having romantic intentions towards somebody, he thinks of Ellen.
Oh yeah.
But also
betrayal.
Yeah, in betrayal. It's like, I guess, and maybe that's foreshadowing for later, but in a weird way, not for the lady does not betray anybody. But yeah, he basically decides to help this guy out against the sheriff, and a snake attacks the guy, and he helps him. But because the guy screamed out in pain, or not pain, just fear, the sheriff finds them, and basically the sheriff says his side of the story. The guy had killed somebody else in cold blood.
He had killed the original officer who came to arrest him for the burglary.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, I didn't catch that either, but I'm
pretty sure that's what it was.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot more sense now, because it was like, oh, so he just killed a guy? Is he just a murderer, in general? He was the whole story was made up? No. Okay, that makes a lot more sense that they're in the framing of this book, more equally bad or whatever.
Yeah, he left the part of, when he told the story where I ran because they tried to arrest me for trumped up burglary charges.
Yeah.
Yeah, he leaves out that one little part where he killed the guy who first came to arrest him.
So the burglary charges may be trumped up, but certainly if they charged him for murder, that wouldn't be.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I feel like you'd want to claim trumped up murder charge.
Yeah. So yeah, Man-Thing realizing that the guy had lied to him, but also
feels betrayed.
Yeah, he feels betrayed, and so he just walks away. He just walks off
and considers it justice for the guy to get shot.
So yeah, the sheriff shoots him, and then
but the sheriff enjoys it just a little too much.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I should do this again and again.
Yeah,
but only in a racist way.
Right, yeah. He says, I wish I could take this here gun and aim and kill off all of your kind with one shot.
Yeesh.
Yeah. So Man-Thing turns back to him and takes him out through burning him to crisp. And that's the end. Yeah.
And then we get Adventure into Fear with the Man-Thing, number 13.
Yes, and this is the one that I did not make it to.
Gotcha. Well, strap in.
Yeah.
So, Jennifer and her brother keep mentioning the fact of their grandpa. Well, it turns out Grandpa over here is a cult leader. Leader of, I can't remember the actual name.
It's just a cult. It's an occult cult.
Yeah. A cult.
Yes.
Yeah, and this is written by Steve Gerber, pencils by Val Mayerik, and inks by Frank Boyle. With this one credits the color Ben Hunt.
Okay.
And letters by Artie Simek.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it opens up with the the cult meeting, and they go to take out the magic book, and it's gone. The grandpa's like, "Oh crap!"
Yeah.
And the other people in the cult are like, "Hey, did you steal this?" Why would I steal the thing that I'm holding on to for you guys?
Yeah.
Yep. And so the thing about this cult is that they revere Man-Thing. They're like, he is the savior of humanity.
The prophecy is foretold.
Yep. Yeah. And so Jennifer and her brother are hanging out with Jennifer's boyfriend. they try to tell him about.
They're trying to tell him about the
Yes.
stuff in the swamp, and he's like, I'm not going to stop playing my guitar in the swamp. You can't make me. And they're like, there's demons out there. He's like, no.
Like, I don't believe you. Is the line of like, because he repeats after them what they said.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jennifer's like, oh, so you believe us? It's like, no.
And she goes, well, at least, just for my sake, stay out of the swamp, like, even if you don't believe us. And he goes, no.
Yep.
And he, like, immediately goes to the swamp to go play his guitar.
Yep.
I kind of love, like, the part where the grandpa realizes the book is gone, because we know who took the book.
Mm-hmm.
Initially, we think, oh, it's Jennifer and her brother. They took the book and they burned it already.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the mischief they were up to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it comes out, according to the grandpa, when they talk to him, and this is like the first time they see the cult people just like leaving their barn or something. They're like, who are these people who've taken off their purple cloaks and are just going home?
Yeah.
Like it's a book club or something. But
It's a
yeah, so
type
their
of
grandpa
book club.
reveals, he's like, oh, no, you guys didn't take the right book then, if the book did something evil.
Yeah.
If you were able to summon a demon with that book, that's not the book I'm talking about.
Mm.
Which just means there's some other book that they had.
Yeah, that's missing now.
No worries about that book.
Yeah.
But the book that they are missing, that's the good book, the good magic book.
Mm-hmm.
They're not sure who took it, where it is, and it's kind of clear that one of the guys from the cult is also shady. He's kind of the one who's stirring up trouble, accusing the grandpa of stealing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man, that kind of is like in Khazar. There was one townsperson who is actually part of AIM who's trying to stir up trouble.
There's always someone to stir up trouble. There's always a spy.
Mm-hmm.
There's always some punk. But yeah, so Jackson gets taken over by a demon. And, Jackson is
so
Jennifer's boyfriend.
Jennifer's boyfriend.
Yeah. And Man-Thing sees it, and he's like, oh, that must be trouble.
Yeah. That's not a natural creature of the swamp.
Yeah.
Jennifer and her grandpa and her brother are racing towards the swamp because they told their grandpa, and their grandpa's like, oh, your boyfriend's in trouble.
Right.
We need to go there immediately.
And then they come upon Jackson, but he teleports them to a new world. And, well, I guess...
Alongside the Man-Thing.
Yeah. So they all are in there. And turns out it's the same demon dude that they fought in number 11.
Well, not just him, right?
They have another wizard that's helping them. Is that this one?
Like hell and all that.
Well, they're in hell.
Yeah. It looks like he's like on a throne, right?
Right, yeah.
And
Yeah, I think he says it's literally like hell or something. That's when they make Ellen appear.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we should say Man-Thing confronts himself in a mirror, and he's able to look like his human part again, right? And almost like reason.
Oh, right, yes. So he turns into his human form, and that's when he encounters the demon guy, and he brings back Ellen, and he's like, you can be with Ellen all you want. You just have to
You can be human too. You can be
Right.
human. You can have everything you want. You just got to kill those 3 people. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
what's the cost? What's the cost of your life?
And what does he say? He's like, okay, so I guess I figure I was that monster over there, and to that choice, he's like, and now I've got a choice: be that thing again or kill 3 people. For me, that's no choice at all. So hang on, monster. Here's where you save your soul. And he's like, yeah, no question at all. I'm turning back to Man-Thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then he destroys Ellen.
Yeah.
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 She's just like made of nothing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like hollow, basically. Just a plastic.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, so Demon and Swamp Thing fight. There's this line that's like, but like a fabled bush of a millennia past, he is not consumed by the fire.
Yeah, they try to set Man-Thing on fire.
Mm-hmm.
pretty much what it boils down to is he starts to fight against Jackson specifically to save Jennifer.
Mm-hmm.
And what the other people know is that in order to get out of this, it's just fake. They need to realize that it's not real. Mm-hmm. That way they can leave. And Man-Thing is the last person who has not realized that yet. But when he goes to, like, beat up Jackson really badly, like, he's gonna burn him, obviously, and nothing happens. And that's when he realizes it's fake. Mm-hmm. Sort of.
Which is kind of weird, because I would imagine, well, if he doesn't fear you, it also might not work.
Back in the real world, they're able to burn the demon out of Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. And then we never see Jackson again as Man-Thing goes back into the swamp.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But he saved them all.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure Jackson is like, we're gonna have to break up.
I'm leaving the swamp of Florida as far behind me as possible.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm going to Louisiana.
I can play my guitar in peace there.
Yeah. All right. So then continuing into issue 14, with actually writing and art stays the same. Gerber and Mayerik, Chickstone on inks, S. Goldberg on colors. That was probably in the credits earlier. I just don't remember who S is.
Yeah.
Simon, maybe. And Artie Simic letters.
Yeah. This story opens up with a bunch of incidents throughout the states of people hurting each other.
It has my favorite 3 panels. The man singing as he drives that car, and then he goes, kill!
Oh, yeah.
Swerve towards the couple.
With the baby carriage.
Yeah.
It's like the perfect thing.
Kill.
But yeah, people are becoming possessed with madness. We've seen this before in certain comics.
Yeah.
This time it is a demon plague. An interesting part I noticed towards the beginning was Man-Thing, he's fighting with the other creatures in the swamp.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
There's only the struggle of one monster against another, is what it says. I'm like, I don't know, does that show how this writer is writing about, like, the animals of the swamp, nature itself, like monster versus monster? Or do you think that's just, like, a sign of the madness? This isn't a typical
I mean, given the very first opening page, it seems like this is untypical. The madness has infected nature itself. Because, like, Man-Thing is taking on 3 alligators, 2 snakes, 3 vultures.
Yeah.
I think there's even a fish jumping up at him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like that fish isn't going to do anything. It's trying.
Yeah.
It became a predator today.
Why not?
Yeah.
No, so
one of the alligators literally goes right through Man-Thing, stuck in between the ooze, and then burns up because it's freaked out.
Yeah.
Man, that'd actually be kind of cool though if he could have like a pet alligator that wasn't afraid of him, just like stuck inside him.
My stomach that bites.
Yeah. He could take it out and like use it as a sword or throw it at people.
Yeah.
That'd be a true Florida hero.
Yeah, if you don't have a little reptile friend, are you truly part of Florida?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the world's gone mad. They have all these different examples, like women, old ladies in New York beating up construction workers, etc., etc. And Grandpa, alongside Jennifer and her brother, is like, I must summon the cult. This is the demon plague that was foretold is coming true. We need to, do the incantation. We need to figure out where the book is, the magic book.
Okay, yeah, I was about to ask. I was like, did they find their book? Because that's how the last issue started. Okay.
And then the same guy again is like, you suck. We know that you stole the book. Get off the stage.
Yeah. And while that's all going on, there is a mist that hovers around Jennifer, unbeknownst to everyone else.
I'm pretty sure the thing the incantation they did was they were calling upon the mist. It would find someone worthy as a sacrifice to find the book. It's kind of like that.
Oh,
the vapors must traverse vast voids of transdimensional space, and it chooses Jennifer and the man thing.
Oh, gotcha. And this is where they refer to her as the girl child, which...
Well, man thing refers to her as the girl child.
Well, I mean, he doesn't... Well, yeah, I guess he doesn't
His
say
friend, the girl child, is in danger, so he steps forward. And they are transported to sand with a T at the end.
Sand?
I love that name. Sand with a T at the end.
Sand it.
Yeah.
The mists of Malak brought you here to find the tome.
I am Dockham. So this is where a wizard introduces them to the world where the book is at.
Okay.
And so, but
then he, like, do they admit at this point that the book is just not there?
Oh, yeah. Actually, yeah.
He's like, yeah, the book's not here. Anyway, you guys need to fight for your life. Prove yourselves in this gladiator battle.
Yep.
And of course, Man Thing has to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jennifer never would survive.
Nope. And then, so in this gladiator battle, he goes up against Mongu, the gladiator. So, yeah.
I love that man's giant hands.
It basically ends how you would expect. The Mongu ends up fearing Swamp Thing and burning.
He cleaves into Man Thing.
Sorry, Man Thing.
It just like oozes out. Like, you know, it's just gooey. It's just mud, pretty much, and gunk. Yep. And he's like, this is crazy. What do you mean I can't kill him? Like, you know, normally you just chop their head off or something.
Yeah,
right.
Because he's scared, then of course Man Thing can hurt him. And I love Jennifer being like, okay, Emperor, you just watched my Man Thing friend do that to that guy. What if he does it to you next?
Yep. And so they convince the Emperor to let him go, and they go back home, and everything's all happy, hunky-dory.
Until the next issue.
Yep.
Yes.
Where we get to see the U.S. Air Force dropping bombs on New York because people are beating each other up down there. Because
the demon plague is still happening.
Yeah.
So
yeah, everybody's being possessed all over the world.
Yeah.
Once again, it's a fun thing to think about in Big Two comics of like the world would be so completely different. Like people just die all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm just obsessed with them being like, well, we gotta bomb New York.
Yeah.
There are riots happening.
But this time, the demon plague has infected Swamp Man Thing. And so now he's on a rampage.
As Jennifer says, oh no, they can't. I won't let them try to kill Man Thing. I love that ugly thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is the first we've heard.
Yeah. Also, this is inked by Frank McLaughlin, who's different than last time.
Yeah. So Grandpa allows her to... So Man Thing is knocked out and...
He's shot a bunch, but that doesn't seem to be the reason why he falls over.
Yeah.
And they're like, good, he's dead. Let's get a tow truck and tow him away.
Yeah, tow him back to the swamp.
Jennifer wants to follow, right?
Yeah.
I wonder how heavy Man Thing is, because like it was like
in the Khazar part.
Yeah. 3 men could not hoist him out of a hole.
And these were like 3 strong men.
Yeah. Khazar, of course, is very strong, so he could do it all by himself.
Yes.
So dumb. Jennifer being like, I'm gonna follow them to see what, they do with him. 3 times they saved my life. He wasn't evil. There was a man inside him, a beautiful man. I'm like, when did you see that, Jennifer?
Right. Well,
I guess the demon part, right?
Yeah.
But I love her grandpa being like, I know, dear. He meant a great deal to me also. I'm like, did he? Did he though?
And to the world.
I guess if the grandpa is part of this cult around Man Thing, then it means a different thing to him. But
true. But
so he goes back to recite how their cult came to be, right?
Oh, right, yeah.
We get the awesome Atlantis section.
Oh yeah, I was like, man, there it is, Atlantis again.
Yeah. Magic.
I say
Atlantis.
awesome very, very vaguely.
There is a lot to be in awe about, I guess.
Yeah.
It's Atlantis. Somebody Atlantis is telling everybody the city is gonna sink, and they're like, stop saying that. She's like, no. So they make her leave to the mainland or whatever. The land. They banish her.
Right.
She has to struggle around there.
That woman is named Zered Na, which is also the name of the cult.
So yeah, she also knows of the demon plague that will eventually come 20,000 years later. So she starts this, group where she pretty much tells them of her vision and what the future will hold. Demons will invade the earth. There will be a savior. A savior men will hate because he will look like a monster.
Yeah. So I'm only reading the art here, but does she, it looks like she predicts World War II, Captain America, and Spider-Man.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Cool.
her goddess Valka reveals all that to her. Is the thing.
Okay.
But there is, what do they call them? Basically bad guys, but I mean they're like another tribe or something comes to raid them.
No. So Atlantis is breaking down, and they're like, it's because of her. She made it happen.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
We gotta kill her.
Gotcha.
And so as their city is crumbling, they rush to find her again and stab her, and they do, and they burn down the place and kill a bunch of the members of the group.
Yep.
But a few of them escape, with her words preserved for the next 20,000 years.
Yep. And that's the history of this cult. And then we jump to...
And Jennifer has been busy crying at the edge of the swamp.
Yes.
When that wizard guy from, who originally was in the gladiator world, he appears and is like, I was just testing you guys. You've passed the test. Now you must wear the priestess garb.
Oh, yeah.
Her in the metal bikini, as we do. And they're going to actually find the book this time. Man Thing.
Yeah. Yep.
So I guess also the wizard is the one who claims that he made Man Thing look like he died.
Oh, right. Yep. And then there's this elf.
Okay, so they get to the magical world that has the book. They go to touch the book, at least Jennifer. This little trickster guy comes out. Hell begins when my dance stops. They're transported to the dark domain.
Yeah. And then
Jennifer has to get the book, and that takes them back to the swamp, pretty much. I don't totally understand whether it was her touching the book finally that transported them back.
I think that's what they were saying.
Holding the tome is enough for in the next instant. Okay, yeah. So they are transported from the dark domain. The creature of fire that Man Thing was fighting to keep them safe is weakened in the swamp and can be destroyed.
Yep.
And then as that demon dies, the book disappears, which means that the demon plague is totally fine with. Trust me, the world is doing fine now.
Yeah, let's go.
So, if I'm understanding, the first book, which was the bad book, brought about a demon, and destroying it brought the demon back to its world. And then there's a demon plague, and they needed the good book to stop it. But really, the good book disappearing also stopped it.
Mm-hmm.
Since
I think it's supposed to be that the sign that the demon plague is over is because the book slowly fades from her hands.
Oh, okay. So it's the wrong direction for cause and effect here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. I think also there's later going to be talking about like the swamp being a focal point or a
They've mentioned that. They're like, it's some sort of nexus.
nexus. Yeah.
Things intercept here.
Yeah. I've heard.
So I guess Man-Thing being master of his domain can kind of keep it, the other world pushed out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard that eventually Man-Thing becomes a nexus of all realities.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good for him.
Good. Promotion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I read some more, but I feel like that's kind of a good place to summarize it because it becomes more one-shots.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like the issues after get into like a corporation trying to destroy the swamp.
They're trying to turn the swamp into an airport.
Yeah. And
the Native Americans will stop them.
Right.
Maybe.
And then Man-Thing gets involved, stopping them. Yeah.
Man, also now skipping ahead a little bit more, the next issue, is that with the space baby?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that is a lot like the other space baby, actually. That I don't know if I was talking about that on mic or not. I can't remember now, but we were talking about Marvel 2-in-1. Yeah, I think I was on mic at that point. But yeah, just like the Thing gets a space baby who gets like magically grown up, and I'm like, this looks like very similar, but it's a completely different person.
Wait, it's grown up? I missed that part. Yeah, that is very much like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fast forwarding a few issues, Jennifer, we see like at the end of that issue with the space baby, Jennifer is shown having nightmares, and then
we didn't really talk about the fact that it's not really a telepathic link between her and Man-Thing. They have an empathetic link.
Yes. Yeah. They feel for each other.
Which seems bad. I'm just going to say, that seems bad. I would not like to feel what other people are feeling uncontrollably.
One specific person.
Yeah.
Who seems to feel a lot of disgust towards themselves, frankly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we get the Marvel 2-in-1 with the Thing and Man-Thing.
Fantastic Four.
Well, more the Thing, because Fantastic Four isn't in it. But they have the Molecule Man, which is an enemy of the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Don't they? No, they have like Reed Richards.
Yeah, he does show
but
up.
But that's like a flashback.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember anymore. Things happen.
Yeah.
I just thought it was interesting. I don't know, Man-Thing, he kind of doesn't get to go after his cure, huh? And he doesn't seem super obsessed with it for most of these issues.
No.
No, he's kind of like, I'm not sure if he's come to terms with it, but he's
just hanging out.
He's just hanging out. Yeah.
And then it becomes very occult.
Yeah. I've heard that this series even pivots into something more resembling sword and sorcery.
Yeah, that's the last two issues that we read here.
Gotcha.
So the last two issues is involving a collision of worlds, and they're at war. They're fighting with each other. We have the American military fighting with barbarians, but these aren't like real life barbarians. They're like fantasy barbarians, I guess.
Rosetta barbarians.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then we get... Oh, wait, this is a dream. Well, it's not a dream. It's an alternate reality. Okay, so Jennifer's nightmares. Yeah. Jennifer's nightmares are actually her flipping between realities, is how they explain it.
That would suck.
Yeah. Yes. And so she is in this reality where all the war is happening as Zerid Na. And so she's in that garb, and they're all chasing after her because they're like, you're the one that's responsible for this. Like, we got to kill you. There's one guy that... So she's in the real world, she's waking up. She's leaving the world, but it's like there's a portal that's left open just long enough for one of the people from that world to like come into the real world. But he doesn't come into the real world like any normal person. No, Jennifer's brother is having a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, leaves the knife right next to the peanut butter. The knife starts glowing. The peanut butter then jumps out of the container and turns into this guy. And so...
Awesome.
Yeah, and so it's just a whole bunch of shenanigans. The guy actually is good at heart. And then this is apparently the first appearance of Howard the Duck.
Yes.
So Howard the Duck also gets sent to the real world. And so now they're all trying to figure out how to get back.
Okay, right. Man, maybe I should read more of this. Yeah, also, I don't know if I've jumped way ahead, but it looks like some character called the Fool Killer shows up.
That seems like further than what I read.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
We get this wonderful scene where Jennifer and the barbarian guy and Howard the Duck Swamp Thing, they're all traveling in this other world. And
Man Thing.
Sorry, yeah, Man Thing. They're all traveling to this other world. Howard the Duck, or the wizard is like, be careful where you step or else you fall off. Howard the Duck falls off. And then the wizard's like, oh man, I'm gonna have to live with that for the rest of my life. And then he's like, okay, I need to protect the barbarian guy, so here's my helmet. And is like, all right, now you're okay. You won't fall off. And then there's this scene later where it's like he gives somebody wings or something like he gives them wings, and someone asks, couldn't this have saved Howard the Duck? And the wizard's like, I didn't think about that. My brain isn't as functioning as it used to be.
I didn't think that character would become such a reoccurring character.
Yep. I think all the reoccurring characters I didn't need, just to be honest. But yeah, that's as far as I read. Oh wait, the demon comes back. Oh yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
It turns out he's
the classics.
Yes, turns out he's the one behind the entire war.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt Ellen will ever live in peace either.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Betrayal of love.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I liked Man Thing hanging out in the swamp, dealing with scientists and people looking for the serum. I don't think I cared as much about the occult stuff. Yeah. Once they started being like, demons are coming, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
This is a swamp.
It is a really interesting pivot because it's like, well, his origin is in essentially a magazine that's like, a Frank Frazetta, Conan kind of thing. So it's like, but the origin is like more of a, superhero sci-fi kind of thing where it's like, it's a serum that changes him.
Mm-hmm.
Militaristic.
Yeah, military project. Yeah. Spies, stuff like that. So then it's like to pivot to a, like I said, sword and sorcery, magic, kind of fantasy is interesting, but it also, like, yeah, it's like, well, you know, you kind of have to ask, like, I think that strangely, again, I think that Alan Moore's Swamp Thing does kind of go into similar questions of, like, was it really the chemical process that changed, you know, Alan into Swamp Thing? Or wait, no, Alan Moore is the writer, of course, but the character's name is not also Alan.
I don't think so. I don't remember either.
Yeah, I don't remember his name anymore.
Alec,
there we go. Okay, yes. I was close then. I was like,
it is really close.
Alec Holland, there we go.
All right, I was like, man, am I just crazy? That was vindicating. But anyway, yeah, they ask, you know, like, was it actually like the science that changed him into Swamp Thing, or, you know, was it something else, basically?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it feels like this is also kind of flirting with that a little bit, where it's like, no.
Yeah, it becomes fate.
Yeah.
He has to become Man-Thing to save them from the demon plague.
Yeah.
At one time.
Do you think that it almost, like, they have to go that direction, or else you run out of ideas?
Not necessarily. I mean, I would think that this is just where Steve Gerber wanted to go with it more. 'Cause yeah, I mean, I don't know, it feels like, you know, you can just...
Did he start writing it until the occult stuff started coming in?
Yeah, because the first issue that he started working on, I think, was the first one that the kids show up in.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, so that was kind of his, I mean, not necessarily his idea from the beginning, but it's definitely...
Yeah, and he did write I think the second issue that they were introduced in.
Well, yeah, after he starts writing, that's when it's within the volume. The rest of the issues are from him. Yeah, because it's Adventure into Fear number 10 is not written by him. It's written by Jerry Conway. And then Adventure into Fear 11 is written by Steve Gerber, and it continues to get written by Steve Gerber until the series end and reboot into Man-Thing number 1.
Gotcha.
That's so fascinating, where I'm like, I kind of like that stuff. And then it became this. And it's like, that's when main dude started writing. I was really pleased with how much they did not push Man-Thing with a lady. And then they do.
Yeah.
But they're like, it's faded.
Right.
Empathetic link.
Honestly, like, I can still live in the world where, like, it's just, like, by happenstance. There's nothing more than just, I feel sorry for that ugly thing.
Oh, yeah, there's
she says, I love him, and then I don't know, it just feels like her life begins to revolve around him.
Yeah, yeah. I can see both sides of it, actually, like what both of you are saying. Like, in some ways, it's like, you love him like you love a dog, you know?
Yeah.
Ugly thing.
Yeah. It's so ugly.
But then you are right. Her life does start to, like, revolve around him. So even if it's not like a weird, like, romantic attraction, it's still like, wow, you need to get a life. Like,
he had a boyfriend. He made the mistake of playing the guitar in the swamp.
Yep.
After being warned.
Yep. I mean, that is his fault.
Hardly.
I do want to say I don't think I would mind Man-Thing having more people he had connections to. And they kind of had that. They had, like, Calvin. They had Dr. Calvin. They had Dr. Barbara. I was like, oh, okay. Like, if it turns into a romance, it's kind of predictable with Dr. Barbara. But, you know, whatever. They know him. They're involved in all of this. It's interesting. There's the premise, and we're starting to do something with it. but there's like the premise of Man-Thing, the serum of him, and, you know, him being part of the swamp and being connected to the swamp. And most of the time we're kind of ignoring that, it feels like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can feel that a little bit. Yeah, I think I would like to see more characters pop up from like the Project Gladiator, and even like feel more of that tension between the like, is it science or is it magic, you know? Like have them like have what happens when Dr. Calvin meets the grandpa.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Battle of wits on there.
Yeah. Yeah, what happened?
She's gonna be in that coma forever.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
When the scientists are confronted with the magic, but also like, I don't know, there's still some science to it, you know, and like having that kind of classic, like, you know, science and magic are part of the same vein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be cool. I think for what it is interesting and kind of fun. I think that the writing is very, I can't think of the word I wanted to use, but just like it works. Works for what it's trying to do. Yeah, and I think I do wish that I'd read more. I think I kind of slowed down, even though I was skipping parts of it. I was slowed down a little bit by the Khazar at the beginning, where I could have probably just skipped right into the what is it? Journey into Fear.
Some of the crossover
Adventures
stuff, I
into
feel
Fear.
like maybe I would skip next time.
Yeah. Yeah, and then when I was looking through the table of contents, I was definitely like, I'm probably just going to skip the Marvel 2-in-1. Like, I just know that that's not going to be my thing.
You could have warned me.
I mean, you'd probably already read it by that point when I was looking.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my biggest grievance is with the reoccurring characters. I did not care.
Who are you? Why were you so important to come back again?
Right. Yeah.
It kind of is that thing of like, well, we have the girl and she has a connection to Man-Thing, so bring her back.
Yeah.
We have the wizard. We need a wizard for this scene. Let's not make a new wizard.
Yeah. I mean, also I get that too. It's like the problem of having a central character that does not speak.
Yeah.
And
yeah, there was but what was interesting was that the entire issue of the Space Baby, none of them, like Swamp Thing and the baby turned older, none of them, they didn't speak. And it was like narrated through caption.
Oh, okay.
And the only people that spoke were the townspeople that they were like running away from.
Right. Yeah. A lot can be achieved through narrative captions, but I'm sure that like especially at the time the thinking was, you know, well, yeah, we have to have a human POV character, you know, somebody that, you know, this is all happening to.
Yeah.
Can't just follow a monster that doesn't speak. Hardly even has like wants.
Yeah, Man-Thing is a representation of trying to find your humanity, being distrusted as a monster, right?
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Yeah. He's in some ways he's a Frankenstein. In some ways he is a little bit of a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but not quite so much, like, you know, like you'd say the Hulk, for instance, is Frankenstein mixed with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, like completely.
Oh yeah,
you know,
the two sides.
Yeah, but Man-Thing is not the Hulk, you know, but he does have some of that DNA in him for sure.
Gotcha.
There's like they kind of make him a judge, like in the one with the criminal guy.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, he's definitely...
Because they're both arguing for their different sides to him.
Mm-hmm.
He holds the power to let them kill each other.
Yeah.
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 And then he decides in the end to kill the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, from his inception, he is definitely not, not and never will be a superhero character or even an anti-hero. He is more of a force of justice. He lays out justice.
Oh yeah, with the baby too.
Yeah.
Fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nature will enact justice on you.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have that perspective when I read the issue. This was before like the last two, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Where it began with people on a bus and there was a drunk driver. Where that was like very heavily like we're gonna debate between two different ideologies. And so one of the characters was a military guy who just came back from Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
And another guy was like, I don't know, like I guess anti-life is how he described himself. Like he was just like, yeah, life doesn't matter. But he was more like, life doesn't matter. And you know that other people think the same thing because look at all the things that we're doing as a society. And so they like had that back and forth like all the time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But with Swamp Thing being like a judge, it's like, okay, I can see where the mindset the writer was at.
Right.
With that.
Yeah. Can I ask how that ends for the characters? Are they...
I'm trying to think. So basically they get into a fight.
A fist fight or
a fist fight. And the military guy almost beats the other guy to death.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think he dies, but I can't remember what happened. And then the other guy, I don't remember.
Okay.
I can jump to it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't, it doesn't seem like anybody died. They just fought until he shoots him.
Yeah.
They all get shot by the suit guy. Survival. If I'm gonna live, you have to die.
Oh, right. Right, because the suit guy is like, I don't know, maybe like corporate America or something like that. Like he's like the military guy.
He's very bureaucracy, right?
Yeah.
Like when he kills them, he's like, there's no evidence, then I'll be no jail. I'll be free.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's like, the military guy should have understood me. Like, come on. I'm pro-America.
Interesting.
Then I think that's when Swamp Thing steps in and stops him from killing any more people.
Okay. Gotcha. And does Swamp Thing kill the guy, though? That's, I think, my main question here.
Yes. He dies by impalement.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Not everybody has to burn at the touch. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess having not read that much into it, now I'm curious how, Man-Thing acting as a force of justice, how that ties into the more like fantasy elements that it's trying to bring in, I don't know, it is curious to me, like, to think, is Steve Gerber just like, well, we're gonna go on an angle that I want to write about and it's gonna be fun, or is it like, does it still tie in,
Gotcha.
Is there two different Man-Thing paths?
Yeah.
Or do they come together at all?
Yeah.
I definitely get... Oh, you go, Shwin.
Well, I don't know. With the cult, because, I haven't read past the cult sections really too much. They considered him, he's going to be good. He is good. He's a force of good. He can only be the good thing.
Right.
But I don't know. I think it's really interesting paired with the fact that he's just kind of unharmable. He can be weakened. He can have trouble fighting against the bad forces. But he's never truly in danger, it feels like. And that just feels like part of his character. He's not going to be in danger. There's only whether he can achieve, the good or not. The good being justice.
Right. Interesting.
I don't know, demons plaguing humanity, them being consumed with madness.
Mm-hmm.
And then him being the only thing that will stop the madness in them.
Yeah.
There's something there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there definitely is. Definitely. Yeah. And yeah, I guess that's like, going back to like the idea of like Man-Thing like representing specifically like nature. Does that like is the argument that, nature is the answer to the
ultimate judge.
Yeah. The ultimate judge, and also the cure to what belies the, modern society. The demons that creep in from what we have created.
Gotcha.
I think that's potentially what they're trying to do. I do think it gets muddled a little bit by the fantasy parts.
Yeah. I got the feeling it's probably more multifaceted. Where it's like you have the like Swamp Thing you could think of as a tool that's a multi-tool, like using in different aspects, And so one aspect that Steve Gerber likes is more the fantasy realm, and another avenue is more of the judge.
Yeah.
Well, people often use those fantasy wars to represent, real wars. So there's always that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I think, and maybe it mentions it in the comic with the Vietnam veteran, but Vietnam is just ended, I think. It is ending at this point.
Yeah, I think it's around 74, 73, something like that.
Yeah, well...
when that comic was out.
Right, because I know that it was like December, like Swamp Thing's first appearance was May of 71, right? So...
Okay, so it might not be that old then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vietnam ended in 75.
Okay, so it's still ongoing. So yeah, the Magic War definitely could be a Vietnam stand-in.
Because they use the term savages. Do you think that's the connection there?
I mean, we love doing that too in wars.
Yeah. In general, that could be any war. Unfortunately,
yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, I would just because I didn't get into those issues in particular, I would have to look at them more closely to know for sure. But I could definitely see it being a Vietnam stand-in, which would be interesting. But then then you also have the introduction of Howard the Duck.
Who is he representing?
Yeah, exactly.
President.
No, Howard the Duck represents Henry Kissinger.
Who's that?
He was Secretary of State for under Nixon, and just I don't know too much. I have opinions about him that are not relevant. Yeah, it's history. Anyway, though, what's interesting about Howard the Duck, though, is that the best-selling comic of the time overall was Walt Disney's Duck Comics. So yeah, this is actually Howard the Duck is a parody of Donald Duck.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. And that is, of course, the Carl Barks Duck Comics. It's Walt Disney the company, not because that is part of the history of those comics, is that Carl Barks' name was never on the Donald Duck comics. It was always by Walt Disney, even though he was never actually the one who wrote or drew them or had any creative input.
Gotcha.
And it took years and years for Carl Barks' name to be known. But yeah, so that was the best selling comic of the time, and this is a parody of that also. Howard the Duck in general.
Gotcha.
They need to make some jabs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely feel like he's like in his like he's not well defined state. And they like they it's probably like here's the beginning, you know, but then they expand it way more.
Yeah. It is really interesting to see, like, you know, how, like, I don't know, yellowy he is, and like and very cartoony, and then like compare that to like how he gets represented in the George Lucas movie, Howard the Duck movie. You know, just like white and oddly realistic, but also not, because it's
very upsetting to me.
Yeah, it's a live action movie of a comic character that's supposed to look like a cartoon character.
That makes me want to see it.
I don't know, Tailon.
Have you seen like what he looks like in the movie?
No, I've. I mean, I'm sure I saw a picture at one point in my life.
But...
You've seen him before. He's been like cameos and other things.
Well, yeah, but not. I don't think he looks the same, or at least how you guys are describing him.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about the art.
Yes.
You know, I don't have any strong opinions. I really like some of the like Khazar art.
Yeah.
Of course, the beginning art, the Khazar art. I like a lot of those like strong line work. You know, classic style, simple colors.
For sure. Yeah, I'll always like you know, Jim Starlin and Neil Adams are like big. I already mentioned Gray Morrow in his Man-Thing's first appearance. And then from there, Val Mayerik does like most of the work on pencils, and he does, I don't know. I guess Val could be he or she. I have no idea who Val Mayerik is. They are they do a good job of like, you know, that very like, I don't know, rich penciling style, I guess. That you don't see a lot. Like, I mean, I guess just comparing to Khazar and the pencils by John Buscema, which John Buscema is good too, you know, but it's just like, it's much more of a, I guess, deadline focused art style. I feel like, you know, like a lot less detail put in just to get the book done.
Oh, deadline meaning to get a deadline.
Yeah.
Need a deadline. Gotcha.
Yes. Yeah. Whereas like, I wonder how often the Adventures into Fear was being published. I think it's monthly. We saw it. I'll have to skip over to that and see when how many months. So it goes from October for issue 10 and then December. Okay, so they had 2 months in between issues. So the art gets a little bit more time. The artist gets more time to work on it. And I think that shows.
Gotcha.
Crazy if you give your artist more time.
Yeah. To
me, the art was fine. Like, nothing really stood out to me except for the introduction issue of Swamp Thing. So, Savage Tales.
Yes.
That was spectacular.
Yeah,
that was gorgeous.
Yeah, those magazines.
I think some of the later issues, I kind of feel a little bit less about the art. Maybe like you're saying, they're getting less time.
That could be, especially if they. I'm about to check actually, but going from the Adventures into Fear into the rebooted just like Man-Thing #1, they might start going monthly at that point. Not sure yet, but I could definitely see that being the
almost
case.
Like that's the funny thing though, the style becomes almost like too busy. They're trying to fit so much in one panel, and it's just kind of uninteresting, weird expressions.
Yeah.
It's never hard to read, really. There's just a lot of text and a lot of work is going into the pictures, but there's so many lines sometimes.
Yeah. This is still this is early Bronze Age Marvel Comics, and it's wordy. They have not figured out how to let the art just speak for itself yet. It's they're probably still paying the scripters per word.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I definitely for me, trying to read half of this in one sitting was just way too much.
Yeah. And also,
you poor man thing.
Okay, so I feel bad for Man Thing whenever the wizard calls him man object.
Yeah.
Just wow.
I'm a thing.
Yeah. Gosh. Yeah, and I did find out, yes, the art the series Man Thing proper, after Adventures into Fear is over, it swaps to being monthly instead of every 2 months. So
gotcha.
Less time, less quality art happens.
Just all right, you can either go fantasy but get somebody else, or do less.
Yeah, I wonder, in the moment, it's probably, easily person to person, what they feel. But, it has to be both, exciting and disappointing. People like my work so much that they want to read it more.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to get more money because I'm doing more assignments.
Right.
But then it's but my quality of work is suffering.
Yeah.
I think I would have liked it more if they simplified it. I don't think they have enough time to consider a lot of their panels. They're just we got to get this done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. And then I was going to say, too, the introduction, the origin issue, those magazines were oftentimes one-shots, or, if not the magazine itself, it would be the story would be a one-shot. Basically, there was just a lot more time and resources. The paper quality was a lot better that it'd be printed on. All of that
it's
stuff.
Getting a pilot out too. This is your chance.
Yeah. So there's really a lot of there's a lot of those magazines that don't get a lot of attention, that look really nice. There's the first time that they used the Spectacular Spider-Man, because they'd eventually make a series that has that name. But Spectacular Spider-Man magazine has a really nice looking Spider-Man story. They've done an X-Men one. So yeah, I recommend those basically for their art. If you liked these opening, this Man Thing opening. But yeah. Overall, seems like good art. And yeah, definitely I think in terms of story, also taking it in context of the time to, just what was being kind of published by Marvel and Big Two stuff, at the time. It was, this is good for what was coming out,
okay.
Not that things were excessively bad either, but this is just
this was breaking new ground.
Yeah
Gotcha.
Yeah, and also this was the other context for this too, is that this is when they were beginning the first relaxation of the Comics Code Authority too, because these are stamped with the Comics Code seal still, but before they could not include any demons or monsters. That was considered not appropriate. And now they can. So this was Marvel's explosion of monster comics. They made Tomb of Dracula. What's the wolf guy, Werewolf by Night.
Mm-hmm.
They did Man Thing. There's one other one I'm not thinking of, but
are these the Howling Commandos?
I think that comes a little bit later because, like, I mean, the original Howling Commandos was Nick Fury's Howling Commandos, and that was just a military comic, you know.
Or was it Creature Commando?
Creature Commando is a different thing, and that's under DC.
Oh, gotcha.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
I think that Marvel probably saw Creature Commando and was like, hey, we have something kind of named that.
Yeah.
It's coming up.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's basically like, that's part of why this series exists and probably why Steve Gerber was even interested in doing demon stuff, was like, hey, we haven't been able to do this for like 12 years, you know, like,
yeah,
I'm gonna try it out. It'll probably sell because it hasn't been on the market for like 12 years.
It's true.
Yeah. Yeah. Overall, interesting. And interesting kind of ecology in comics. I think that's what I'm going to kind of land on for
the theme.
The theme, yeah. How I call this, or what I call this. Ecology.
Yeah, even though I didn't love every single story I read, I never felt bad about reading it. I don't know.
Gotcha.
It never was horribly unenjoyable. I was always like, yeah, I can see how this is a story that somebody would like.
I had a different experience. Although maybe it was,
you were painfully forced.
Yes, but it could have just been because I was trying to read it all at once.
Yeah.
Or well, half of it all at once.
That might have been it. Yeah, these are big books.
Yeah.
These are the best of Man-Thing.
And yeah, you know, these are also you know, contextually too, single issues were meant to be read, you know, somewhat slowly over time, you know. They come out, well, you know, these ones came out at first once every 2 months, but you know, eventually once a month, and then you read that, you know, all month.
Yeah. I reminded myself that I think once or twice I was like reading it and I was like, this is a lot of words. I was like, people who only got this like once a month would have been really happy to have all these words.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you're a fast reader and you read it like twice a month and then you're like, okay, I remember what happened for the next issue.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely trying to read it all at once. You're like, I don't remember a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, all right. Is there anything else? Last thoughts? I think though.
I'm glad we read about Man-Thing.
Yeah.
I was like, is this gonna be as good as Swamp Thing? It's got its interesting points.
Yeah, it definitely does. I'm glad we read it too. It's always been kind of like an unknown for me, a blind spot a little bit, where I'm like, well, I know that things burn at the touch, or the no fear burn at the touch of a Man-Thing. But I don't really know much about him. I've read like one issue that he like guest starred in once, and that was it. So yeah, it was nice to get like a full perspective, and like how much he resembles a Swamp Thing, because I was also like, well, you know, everybody does the comparison, but like how similar are they really? And it turns out very similar. like probably more similar than Namor and Aquaman, or like more similar than Hawkeye and Green Arrow.
and
astute listeners will listen to us constantly say Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
Yes. I will say, like, when we looked at when, you know, Swamp Thing came out and when this came out, I'm almost convinced, or I'm convinced that it wasn't like the other saw the other and were like, oh, I'm going to do that thing. Like, because to me, they came out too similar for that.
Right.
Too much at the same time.
It definitely feels like, you know, just things happening, at the same time, similar influences. I'm like, when was Creature of the Black Lagoon? When did that come out? But yeah, I mean, but at the same time, you also have to wonder of people like, a lot of these people lived in the similar neighborhood in New York City, working in buildings that were near each other,
discussing, I'm gonna do something about the swamp.
Yeah.
And the person goes, hey, I'm gonna do that.
Right.
Even if they don't know what the other person's exactly going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fair.
Yeah. So it could have been that they were inspired by each other before either were published. So yeah, I don't know, but I am interested to find that out a little bit. Like, I'm sure somebody had to have asked both creators at some point, like, hey, what's the deal? Yeah. All right, cool. Well, thank you everybody for listening to the Comic Panel. I'm Cody.
I'm Tailon.
And I'm Chawienta.
And we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.